Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Class F, group number 9. We are going to present about classroom action research. Members of the group 9 are the first one, Tasya Salsabila, number 2, Femalinda, and which is me. Number 3 is Melliana Fitria E D, and number 4 is Lara, Divia, Dapaci. The table of content of this presentation is the first one, definition. Talk about classroom action research definition, and number 2, purpose. Tell the aims of classroom action research. The third is step. Discuss the step of classroom action research. And the last one is the differences. Identify the differences between classroom action research and formal research. Okay. The definition is from both Bogdan and Wickland state that action research is the systematic collection of information that is designed to bring about social change. Okay. The second, from Cameron and Jones, state that action research as a research carried out by practitioners with a view to improve their professional practice and understand it better. The last one, from Allwright and Bailey, a research centers on the classroom and simply tries to investigate what actually happened inside the classroom. So the first definition refers to the general meaning of action research, and the second reflects the meaning of classroom that the term practitioner use refers to teachers who practice and act in the classroom. The last perfectly indicate the action and the practice done by teachers in their own classroom. So it's discuss about how teachers respond to learner error, how interaction occurs in classroom, interaction about learner and teacher, the relationship, the feeling of the teacher and learner during the classroom or after the lesson, or after the class, and so on. Action research is a process in which educators examine their own practice systematically and carefully using the technique of research. Participants design a research question, collect data throughout the year, analyze what they have learned, and write about their findings. The method that they can use is are observation, interview, survey, and journal to investigate their question. So that's a definition about classroom action research. So they discuss and talk about the interaction in the classroom between learner and teacher, and what teacher will act, how teacher will lead the classroom, the interaction about teacher and learner, how the feeling and what's going on in the classroom, and what teacher should do and what will happen in the classroom. And the next will explain by my friend. Thank you.
The next explanation is about the purpose of classroom action research, or CAR. The first one, the purpose is based on Cohen in 1989, and the second one is based on Borch, Gall, and Gall in 1993. Let's see the first purpose based on Cohen in 1989. There is 5 categories. The first one is correcting or improving a problem that is diagnosed in a particular situation. The second is as an advice in training service equipping teachers with new skills and methods, deepening their analytical power, and increasing self-awareness. The third is as a way to take additional or innovative approaches to teaching and learning into a system that is normally inhibits innovation and change. The next categories, based on Cohen in 1989, is to improve those people who have difficulty communicating between practice teachers and academic researchers. And the last category is to provide something that is preferable to a more subjective approach to problem solving in a class. And the next purpose is based on both Gall and Gall. There is 5 categories too. The first categories is classroom action research contributes to the basic theory and knowledge needed to improve practice. The second is support the professional development of practitioners to become more competent in understanding and utilizing research finding and carrying out research themselves when appropriate. The third is builds a collegial networking system, for sometimes it involves several educators, even students and parents working together. The fourth is help practitioners identify problems and seek solutions in a systematic fashion. The last category is based on both Gall and Gall in 1993. It can be used at all levels and in all areas of education, such as a means of in-service training for principal.
I'm Melliana Fitria, and I will explain about step in classroom action research. Action research theory was found by chemist and Targat in 1988. They state that action research means transforming what we do, transforming what we think and say, and transforming the way we relate to others and to things around us. Basically, action research can be applied in any situation, but today we will talk about action research in the classroom, which relates to teacher practice development. Based on chemist and Targat, there are 4 main steps in action research, and you can see it from your screen. I will explain the first step in action research. Planning and action. You have to plan what kind of action that you want to be implemented in your classroom. And the second is implemented. Implemented means you have to implement an action and a plan as an action in your classroom. And the third is observe. The teacher have to observe the action during the implementation. And the last step is reflection. Reflection means is you analyze the data that you obtained before from the observation during the implementation of action. They also state that action research is cycle and repeated action. It's you can see the diagram on the cyclical AR model in your screen. So if the teacher think that still need a revision or want to develop or the action still not gather any information for the teacher, they can start the another cycle with revision plan, but with the same step as before, as the cycle 1. Other researchers developed classroom action research theory and established 7 steps of classroom action research. There is no significant difference between the first or the previous one, but it's more detailed. According to Strickland, Borg, Gall, and Gall in 1993, there are 7 steps of classroom action research. The first step is identify the problem. Teacher can start by making a research question. For example, are my students more engaged in group work or individual work? Does computer help my student for having a better understanding? The second step is seek knowledge. Seek knowledge means find any research that relates to your issue. You can find any article or journal that applicable to your research question. And the third step is plan and action. Plan and action means design the activities that will effective to help you find the answer of your research question. And the fourth is collect the data. Collecting the data from survey, note, or observation. Of course, before you collecting the data, you have to implement the action that you have designed before. And the fifth step is analyze the data. Analyze the data is one before to find the conclusion of your data, to analyze the obtained data before. And the sixth is implement strategy. Implement strategy based on your finding after you analyze the data. If your strategy or plan was helpful for your teaching and learning process, you might only build on the strategy. But if you want to more something new, you can brainstorm the various way or method for your learning and teaching process. And the last step is share your result of the research. Teacher can share it with the colleges or stakeholder of the school, which you present that the action will be very useful for students and improving their engagement in learning and also the achievement in the learning. So the next presenter will discuss about the difference between classroom as a research and formal research.
I'm Lara Divia Dapaci. I will explain the differences between formal research and classroom action research. Classroom action research differs in some important ways from formal research. First, training needed by researcher. Most formal research methods require extensive training to be used properly. However, most education practitioners can carry out action research on their own in collaboration with college or with the aid of a research specialist. Second, goals of the research. The goals of formal research are to produce knowledge that is generalized to a broad population of interest to develop and test theories. By contrast, action research is aimed at obtaining knowledge that can be applied directly to the local situation. Third, methods of identifying the problem to be studied. In formal research, problems for investigation usually are identified through a review of previous research. In action research, by contrast, the educators investigate precisely those problems that they perceive to interfering with their efficiency and perhaps that of their college. Fourth, procedure for literature review. In formal research, an extensive literature review focusing on the primary source material is necessary. In action research, researchers only need to gain a general understanding of the area being studied. Fifth, sampling approach. In formal research, researchers aim to select either a random or representative sample of the population to eliminate sampling as a possible factor affecting the result. However, action research uses subjects, the students or clients with whom they typically work. 6. Research design. Formal research emphasizes detailed planning to control for extraneous variables that can confuse the interpretation of the result. By contrast, action research plan their procedure more loosely, make changes freely during the action phase of the study if they appear likely to improve the practical situation, and complete the study fairly quickly. 7. Measurement procedures. Researchers who do formal studies attempt to find the most valid and reliable measures available. 8. Data analysis. Formal research often involves complex analysis of data, but raw data are rarely presented. In informal qualitative research, the researcher engages in careful reason analysis of intensive case data to determine their consistency with the theory in which research is grounded. 9. Application of result. Researchers who do formal research emphasize the theoretical significance of their findings. Action research report their findings mainly in an effort to clarify how the findings might affect their own work and to inform the college about possible implications for professional practice.